This investigative report focuses on the shifting dynamics of the global music industry during the first half of 2026, centering on the strategic decisions of one of the most unusual vocal talents of this century, Angelina Jordan. Since winning a major talent championship at an extraordinarily young age, the Norwegian-born musician has captured the attention of top Hollywood producers with her deep, melancholic, and mature vocal characteristics, which are frequently compared to past jazz and soul legends. Unlike modern pop commodities shaped by digital algorithms, the subject of our report built her reputation on raw authenticity, including her iconic stage philosophy of performing barefoot as a form of spiritual connection with the earth and her music. Until late 2025, her career trajectory seemed to follow a conventional industry path. She was signed to one of the world's largest major labels, Republic Records, and positioned to become the next global pop star through massive financial backing and international distribution. However, industry documentation reveals that beneath the grandeur of the stage, latent tensions were brewing regarding creative direction and the ownership of master recordings, the very core of an artist's integrity. The fundamental question now looming over international music analysts is, what exactly transpired behind the closed doors of Hollywood executive boardrooms that drove a young artist with a guaranteed corporate future to risk everything in early 2026? As the industry moved into the first quarter of 2026, our newsroom documented a significant anomaly in Angelina Jordan's public activity and digital promotion. Following the release of several critically acclaimed projects, her social media presence slowed to a crawl, and there were no announcements of major tour or new singles, releases that major labels typically schedule aggressively to maintain market momentum. Reports from multiple internal industry sources indicate that this silence was not a standard creative hiatus, but rather a reflection of a complete deadlock in ongoing long-term contract negotiations. Speculation among music analysts began to grow, hinting at the possibility of a legal dispute or a gag order preventing the artist from freely releasing new material to the public. This uncertainty created a massive wave of speculation among critics, with some assuming that this promising career might fade before reaching its absolute zenith due to a clash of corporate interests. In the modern era, a drastic reduction in digital exposure is often viewed as the death knell for a pop musician's career, but in this specific case, the silence appeared to be part of a much larger strategy. While statistical data proves that an artist requires daily content drops to keep streaming algorithms high, Angelina's audience engagement metrics showed a massive surge in public curiosity, completely defying conventional music marketing theories. Verified industry documents gathered by our team confirm that in February 2026, Angelina Jordan officially shocked the entertainment business community by rejecting a multi-million-dollar contract renewal proposal from a major label. The contract, which included an enormous album production budget, guaranteed global radio rotation, and prime promotional slots at major festivals, came with strict conditions: the complete surrender of creative control to a label-appointed production team and long-term intellectual property rights over all her future masters. The decision to reject the financial stability and guaranteed stardom offered by a corporation of that magnitude was labeled by many analysts as highly reckless, even financially detrimental for an artist still establishing her global footprint. Entertainment sector financial reports confirm that running an independent path requires incredibly high out-of-pocket operational costs, which frequently drive musicians without corporate backing into bankruptcy before their albums are even completed. Yet Jordan chose to pivot all her operations under an independent management structure run internally by her family, MOSARZ, a move that marked an open declaration of independence against the traditional system of label dependency. A career trajectory that was originally engineered to churn out commercial pop hits under Hollywood executive supervision instantly shifted into an organic resistance movement focused on total artistic autonomy. An in-depth analysis of the modern music industry structure reveals a vast chasm between the artistic idealism of a musician and the profitability metrics demanded by corporate shareholders. In the context of Angelina Jordan, internal documents leaked to several Western media outlets indicated that the label pressure was mounting for the singer to adopt a trendier musical style, utilize electronic arrangements optimized for short-form video platforms, and collaborate with commercial songwriters for quick sales. Conversely, our investigative journalism discovered that Jordan adamantly insisted on maintaining organic instrumentation, complex chord progressions, and deeply emotional lyrical narratives that do not always align with instant market gratification. This clash created an operational stalemate. The label refused to fund projects they deemed lacked high commercial viability, while the artist refused to compromise or sacrifice her vocal identity for artificial streaming numbers. This conflict mirrors a broader crisis in the 21st century music industry, where authenticity is frequently overshadowed by digital fabrication for rapid financial returns. This standoff triggered intense anxiety among international promoters, who began receiving leaked information regarding a highly classified project being prepared by Angelina's independent team, completely outside of official Hollywood distribution channels. January and February of 2026 marked a critical juncture in Angelina Jordan's career timeline when she announced a series of self-funded live performances at the Westgate Las Vegas, a venue historically recognized as a proving ground for the world's greatest musical legends. Without hundreds of thousands of dollars in marketing campaigns from a major label, without massive billboards in Times Square, and without promotion from dominant ticketing agencies, the show relied entirely on organic fan loyalty and her vocal reputation. The industry viewed this move as a suicidal gamble. If the concert hall failed to fill, Jordan's reputation as a commercial draw would be shattered instantly, effectively closing the doors to major tour promoters in her future. A failure in Las Vegas would also validate the corporate narrative that an artist can never survive in the global market without the machinery of a major label. The psychological and professional pressure was at an all-time high, considering that all production costs, venue rentals, and backing musician fees were paid directly out of her independent management's pocket, meaning a financial failure on this stage would permanently end her independent ambitions. Amidst the wall of skepticism from industry insiders, a new puzzle emerged for local promoters. How could a concert with minimal digital advertising trigger such unprecedented ticket-buying behavior among music collectors? Investigative reports from the ground show that during her 2026 independent showcase, Angelina Jordan's management implemented a highly unusual policy for the modern era, strictly limiting the official digital recording distribution of the concert and banning portable recording devices in several main areas. This policy was enacted to force the audience to experience the authentic quality of her vocals directly inside the room, a concept completely antithetical to current industry trends that rely heavily on the virality of short video snippets on digital platforms. Market promoters were initially deeply concerned that this restriction of digital access would alienate younger demographics accustomed to consuming instant content on their mobile screens. The fear of massive financial losses caused several local logistics partners to hesitate in continuing their collaboration, given the economic risks involved if this idealistic concept was rejected by a pragmatic market. On paper, this strategy violated every modern marketing rule taught in entertainment business schools, making Jordan's move a highly dangerous social experiment for her career longevity. Yet, the moment the curtains finally opened at the Westgate Las Vegas, those fears collapsed instantly, transforming into a brand new phenomenon that forced market analysts to completely rewrite their theories on audience psychology. The biggest twist that altered the analysis of all industry observers occurred when details regarding Angelina Jordan's upcoming independent album project began leaking to the public in mid-2026. Instead of hearing Grammy-winning producers or purchasing standard Hollywood songwriting formulas, the conceptual foundation of her new musical trilogy turned out to be rooted in highly intimate personal documents, a collection of ancient poetry and profound diary entries belonging to her own grandmother. This discovery shattered the assumption that her independent career would lean into unapproachable, overly experimental genres. Instead, she went back to her traditional roots, blending classical European melodies with pure American blues structures. This approach created a musical identity that is entirely unique and impossible for artificial intelligence or corporate song factories to replicate, because it possesses an unbreakable emotional bond and family history. This move proved that Jordan's strategy was not a reckless rebellion against record labels, but a restoration of artistic values long lost to the commercialized mainstream industry. Physical pre-order sales data for this independent album instantly skyrocketed, completely disproving early major label executive predictions that literature-based family music could never compete with commercial pop tracks on digital charts. The undeniable success of the Las Vegas concerts and the massive demand for Angelina Jordan's independent project immediately sent shockwaves through the executive suites of major labels in Los Angeles and New York. The success of a young artist maintaining absolute creative integrity, rejecting corporate capital, and still generating significant financial returns independently is a precedent deeply feared by the traditional major label system. For decades, the music industry has operated under the assumption that labels hold absolute power because they control the capital and distribution networks. However, Jordan's success proved that in 2026, direct access to a global fanbase through authenticity can completely bypass corporate gatekeepers. Multiple reports from entertainment law firms indicate that following this phenomenon, numerous other contracted artists began reviewing the master ownership clauses in their contracts and demanding greater creative freedom from their respective labels. Angelina's bold move created a visible crack in a business model that had been secure for decades, triggering a shift in power from the hands of corporate executives back into the hands of the creators themselves. Amidst this structural shaking, several internal memos from global talent agencies indicated the quiet formation of a new consortium aiming to alter how young artists are signed in the future. In conclusion, Angelina Jordan's position within the global music landscape by mid-2026 has undergone a total and permanent transformation. She can no longer be categorized merely as a former child prodigy at the mercy of talent show judges or Hollywood producer capital. She is now recognized as a self-sufficient music businesswoman, a visionary conceptualist, and a symbol of resistance for artist rights in the digital age. Through her family-run MOSARZ management, she successfully demonstrated that extraordinary vocal quality, paired with a clean management strategy free from corporate interference, can create a sustainable and highly profitable career ecosystem. International music critics now place her among an elite class of musicians who hold greater leverage than the companies distributing their work, an achievement rarely attained by a musician under 30 years old. Her success in preserving her stage philosophy, lyrical depth, and total control over her master recordings serves as a new blueprint for future generations of musicians wishing to escape mainstream entertainment exploitation. However, one long-term question remains for the future of this industry. Is the success of Angelina Jordan's independent model a unique anomaly due to her extraordinary talent, or is it the beginning of the global collapse of major label dominance? Ultimately, the audacious decisions made by Angelina Jordan throughout 2026 will be recorded in entertainment history as a pivotal moment that redefined the meaning of success for a modern musician. The long-term consequences of this move ensure that a star's evaluation is no longer measured solely by artificial play counts generated by digital corporate campaigns, but by real audience loyalty and absolute ownership of one's artistic legacy. By choosing the difficult path, full of financial risks and the rejection of corporate comfort, she did not merely protect her own voice and artistic vision, she provided a valuable legal and operational precedent for the entire global creative community. Our report concludes that this bold step has altered her career forever, elevating her from a mere entertainment commodity to a pioneer of a modern, independent artistic movement. As 2026 progresses, the global music industry is being forced to adapt to this new reality, where an authentic, barefoot voice has proven fully capable of dismantling the dominance of Hollywood's corporate ivory towers. The investigative report concludes, providing a complete picture of how a single strategic decision can alter the course of popular culture.